Hello. Well, I wanted to do a little intro to this first video. I've been working on something sort of in the background in my spare time. Not that I've had a lot, but I'm excited to finally be able to start this little series. It's going to be a mini series, 5 journal covers in 5 days. And I've tried to come up with 5 different types of journal covers. This would be more for the newbies, people that are new to the junk journal world. A lot of you, I'm sure, know all the methods, but just for journal cover ideas. And then what I plan on doing as you see the 5 covers each day, the 5 bases of the journal. Then I'm going to be putting the papers in, to complete the journals as well. But this is just a little intro. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for stopping by, and welcome to anybody new. Wanted to work on this evening. So I wanted to get this part of the video done anyway. I feel like I sort of cheated because I already started, but then as I was making a list of the journal covers I would like to make, this was one of them, or the style of it was. So instead of making another one, I thought I would update you on what I have done on this. I clearly want to make this traveler notebook size. So I used my traveler's notebook as a pattern for the size that I wanted my cover, and then my pages will be the 8 1/4 by, I think it's 4 1/4, right? 4 1/4. Let's just see, 8 1/4. Well, just over 4 1/4, or just about 4 1/4, roughly. So, to catch you up with what I've done here, very basic. I've taken a piece of ticking as my base fabric for my cover, and then I've picked out fabric scraps that I wanted to include for my cover, and I just played around with them until I came up with something that I liked. I think when I began, and all I've done, let me finish my sentence here, all I've done after I placed them, I've just hand stitched the pieces of fabric onto my backing. It didn't take any time at all, but I hand stitched those on so they would be secure on there. And I think when I first began, I think I was doing something like this, I think was going to be the cover, or maybe, I don't know. I had it folded a different way, and then as I began playing with other elements that I wanted to bring in, I liked this as my front, that as my back. And of course it's going to be a little bit smaller than what this piece of fabric is cut out to be right now, but you always want to start with something a little bit larger than what the actual end result is going to be. So that's what I've done so far. And you can make any style journal that you want to so easily, as far as a cover, just with pieces of scrap fabric, layer them in different ways. My love is fabric for some reason. I love paper too, don't get me wrong, but I just love fabric, and I think that stems from being around my nanny, my grandma, we called her Nanny, and watching her sew, I think that's where my love of fabric comes from. But anyway, so this journal, I am going to complete this journal. It is going to be sort of a Paris themed junk journal, if you will. So what I've come up with is this. And of course, this is going to be shorter. And I put this pin here because that's about where the top, once it's said and done, the length of the journal is going to be. I have this piece of eyelet that I really liked. And as I was playing around with what could I use, you know, to finish this off, I folded this, and I liked this on here. And I was just initially going to stitch that straight down onto the fabric, but then, I'm just playing here. That wouldn't look bad either. I got the idea after I started going through buttons that I wanted to include. I found this little button, and I don't know the technical term for it, but it has a little loop, you know, and I thought, oh, that would be cute on the bottom of this eyelet. And then it gave me the idea to sew this eyelet lace down so that it flipped up. And I thought, well, if I have that, I need something under it. Thus, I pulled out a piece of muslin that I had either tea or coffee stained, and I just stamped Paris on it. And I think what I'm going to do with it is stitch it right down here so that when this flips up, then you see Paris. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to stitch this little button, I believe, on the bottom here. And then I know that I'm going to use these 3 buttons, and I think I'm going to put them here. The reason I chose black buttons is, number one, I really liked this button, and we got the black here. So I feel like I need to sort of bring some of that black down. So those are the elements I know at this point I'm going to add. The other thing that I'm thinking of doing is some slow stitching, maybe where my seams are. I'm not going to go crazy on it, but I feel like I want to add a little bit more. And I like to do that in the evening as I'm watching TV or whatever. So that's my plan. Once I get that done, then I will do the segment and join it with this on how I'm actually finishing this cover. But I wanted to bring you up to speed but I'm real excited about this one. I started this, it had to be 2 weeks ago, if not longer. And I was actually waiting for some papers that I had ordered, you know, French themed things, French book pages, that type of thing that I could include in the journal itself. So I sort of put it on the back burner just because, well, I had other things going on in life that prevented me from getting in my craft room as well. But I was waiting for those to come so I could have an idea. I'm always frightened when I come up with an idea of a theme because I have a tendency to veer off. I'm going to try to stay within that with this particular journal. And I don't want it to be cliche, if you will. I just want it to have enough. So that's my idea on this. I wanted to share it with you, bring you up to speed, and I'll be back to show you the finished part and how I'm going to complete it into the journal cover. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day. Happy crafting, and I'll be back very soon. Bye-bye. Okay, I am back, and I finished stitching. I put my buttons on. I sewed my eyelet lace flap with the little button here. I put the Paris stamp underneath it and just stitched it with some black embroidery floss. I just did some little cross stitches, a little bit of a blanket stitch, just, I don't know what I would even call this. Just wanted to add some stitching to it. The only other thing that I've done is I've backed this with, oh, what do you call it? You know, the stuff that you iron on, fusing. The only reason I did that, I saw Nick the Booksmith had done a video some time ago, and she uses fusing, claiming that it will help prevent the glue when you're using glue to adhere the fabric, prevent it from coming through the fabric. Sometimes you have that, you know, where the glue will leak. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and iron on some fusing on the back of this just to see, just to try it out. So I've done that. I plan on putting quilt batting underneath my fabric layer. I just like the way it feels. I think it adds just a little bit more sturdiness. But more importantly, I just like the way it feels. So what I've done, I've cut out a piece of cardstock that I'm going to adhere my batting to, and then I'm going to stick my piece of my cover basically to that. You see where my fabric's a little bit bigger than this. Once I stitch around everything, then I will cut my fabric down. The other thing I did, I determined I was going to use this for the inside of my journal. It's another piece of cardstock, and once again, I just feel like it makes the cover a little bit more sturdy. Not horribly strong, but it gives it a little bit more. So I think I'm going to start by, I think I'll just put this down, the batting. Let me just make sure. Yeah, this is my up and down. So all you need to do is determine how big you want your journal, of course. I mean, what I'm doing is something we do every day, right? Yeah, glue will come out. I'm using PVA glue. I know a lot of people use Fabri-Tac, and I have it. I just, I like to work with PVA. I don't know why. I do. It takes a little bit longer for it to dry, but I just like being able to smooth it out, and it holds the fabric just as well as the Fabri-Tac. Lay that aside. Put my batting on. And I keep laying this the wrong way. Even it's very close size. If it goes over the edge, what I will do is just trim off wherever it does. And it doesn't matter if this goes all the way to the edge or not, just so that it's close. So I have my batting down. I think I'm going to go ahead and try my PVA glue. I just want a little bit, because this is going to be stitched around, so I know it's going to be secure, but I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and I'm hoping PVA will be alright on this. I'm just going to Flatten it out some. Just enough to hold it in place, really, since I'm stitching around. Just a little bit of sticky. And then with this, when I was trimming my fabric down, I got really close to how large I wanted this piece of fabric to the actual size, so I'm trying to be a little bit cautious here with how I lay this down on my my backing is very wet at this point from the glue. So this is going to have to dry really well before I can stitch around it. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue my inside to this so it can all dry at one time. Just making sure there's no glue down there. Now, if you were adding a closure, something that you would want to run, you know, in between the layers to be stitched in, you should think about that before putting your inside cover on. Oh, and I know what else I wanted to do too. Darn it. Just happened to think about that. Well, no, it doesn't matter. Never mind. Scratch that thought. I want to make sure I get this all the way to the edges of this. And especially, I like to put a little extra where the spine area is going to be, because I find as you open and close the book sometimes, that makes that sort of pucker. All right. Out of the way. I want to make sure I don't set this down on glue. And I'm just lining it up here at the top and the sides. It's a little bit funky with the buttons. Makes it a little bit harder to push it down, you know, because of the... And then I always take my brayer. I just sort of feel like it helps to make everything stick down. Okay, and I'm just going to let this dry. And then I'm going to stitch around it and trim the excess off. So, after I do that, I will be back. Hello everyone. I wanted to show you the finished product here. I let everything dry I've stitched around and trimmed off my excess fabric for the most part. And there's journal number 1. This is the one that I plan on working in, making a journal out of as soon as I finish this little idea that I had about so many journals in so many days. But I wanted to share that with you. I'm real pleased with the way it came out. I love the way it feels, and I can't wait to get journal pages in it because that really makes a difference. I decided, as you know, not to add a closure at this point. If I want to end up adding eyelets with sari ribbon or something, I can. If I just want to tie it with a ribbon or whatever, I can do that. So I just wanted to wait. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I'm real pleased with the way it came out, and it feels yummy. I can't wait till there's pages in it because that makes it feel even more yummy. So I will see you soon with another journal cover. Bye.